all my pilot friends out there. Real quick one today. I wanted to talk about driving record and being a pilot. This was a suggestion from somebody who commented on one of my videos, so thank you very much. And I said, great topic. So what do the airlines look for as far as driving record? Well, no tickets is preferable, but I know that some of you pilots out there kind of like to go fast when you're on the ground and not in an airplane. Just remember, it's not a good look. Too many tickets is not a good look. The rule of thumb is 3 or more, and it's really not a good look. Another thing to think about, some companies provide rental cars for their pilots when they're away from base, etc. If that's the case, you're going to be operating a company vehicle or a vehicle that was rented by the company. And rule of thumb, it's going to depend on their insurance carrier. But typically, if you have 3 things within the last 3 years, that's kind of a no-go on the driving. So that potentially could prevent you from getting the job if driving a company vehicle is part of your pilot job. There's some workarounds for that, but again, if you're talking about being in the interview process with these things, I don't know if you'll get that far. So keep the tickets down, none is better. And then let's talk about DUIs. DUIs are not a career killer, but there's going to be some hurdles if you get one. Basically, if it's been within the last 5 years, you're going to have a really hard time. The longer time passes, the better it's going to get for you as far as that. And let me say this, I want you to remember, if you have gotten a DUI since you have been a certificate holder, an FAA certificate holder, you must report it. And here's a little tidbit that I learned a couple of years ago that I wasn't aware of. And it kind of applies to someone like me. I'm not an active pilot right now. I'm not really exercising the privileges of my license. It doesn't matter. You could have not flown for 20 years, but you hold a pilot's license. If you get a DUI, you still have to report that to the FAA. Even if you're not operating as a pilot, you still hold a pilot's license. So don't forget about that. But you're not going to have to remember that because you're not going to get one, right? Uber is cheap, and it's a lot cheaper than a DUI. So just a little tip out there for you if you're wondering about driving records and pilots. So hopefully that helps. I'll see you on the next one.